House, it moves to New Hampshire. But how will results from the Iowa caucus impact the rest of the campaign? For the Republicans, Ted Cruz, as you may know already, finished at the top with 28% of the vote. Donald Trump came in second with 24%, and Marco Rubio was right behind him. There you see 23%.
The winner on the Democratic side was not announced until today. Hillary Clinton, she barely topped Bernie Sanders by less than 1% of the vote, 49.9% to 49.6%. And check out the cover of the New York Daily News. Trump in Photoshop sad clown face with the headline, "Dead Clown Walking."
They've been out for him since the very beginning. Yeah,
but it's
so no bias there. But.
Quite amazing. So just a few minutes ago, Trump made his first public appearance since last night's concession speech.
The vote that I got was, other than the one vote, because we had so many people, was the biggest vote in the history of Iowa for a Republican caucus. I mean, the biggest in the history of Iowa for a Republican caucus.
Lots of history made yesterday. All the people that went to the caucuses yesterday.
They came out.
Unprecedented numbers.
They came
Joining
out.
us now to break down the caucus results are GOP strategist John Thomas and professor of journalism at Cal State Long Beach, John Shrader. So you heard Donald Trump there. You know, he's basically saying, you know, you guys don't really aren't giving me my due. The fact is, you know, he won second, but no one really expected him to do that well. He ran a pretty good campaign, and he didn't really. He spent all his own money.
That's wrong. He said the sole justification for my candidacy is because I'm number one, because America needs to win again. Right. And if Donald Trump's not winning, then why are people going to support him?
Yeah, really interesting, isn't it? He's made his whole campaign on I'm a winner, follow the winner, and now he's trying to explain that second best is good enough. Although Marco Rubio made a pretty good case that third was good enough last night, too, didn't he?
And he's feeling the heat now because you got Christie going after him. You got a lot of folks that put all their money in New Hampshire going after Rubio.
I'm not sure you're going to have Christie to knock around much longer.
Right.
I think Christie and all the rest of them are just about out of it, aren't
What do you make of John Kasich? You had the New York Times, the Boston Globe come out and endorse him.
Sure, which is a double-edged sword in a GOP primary, having the New York Times side with you.
Establishment media.
Kasich has done a New Hampshire or bust strategy. That's where he's put all of his time, and he's polling well, but we'll see. Trump is still ahead.
Well, the showmen are still in charge here. Ted Cruz is a showman, even though he's got likability problems. Trump continues to be the big showman.
So Ted Cruz moves on to New Hampshire here. It's a much different electorate that we were talking about than Iowa. And, you know, he threw it all out there last night in his speech, talking about God and really almost sounded like a sermon. You know, how is this going to resonate with New Hampshire? And does it sort of like, does it sort of slow down for him now?
Sure, Iowa is tailor-made for Ted Cruz with the evangelical base. They look like Ted Cruz. So he did. Look, I don't want to take it away from Ted. He did a good job performing, but New Hampshire's a different ball game. It's going to be hard for him to continue to compete, especially Rubio is surging. Ted had a good ground game in Iowa, but Rubio's surging. So if Rubio eclipses Ted Cruz in New Hampshire, that may stunt his momentum.
Yeah, from my point of view, the television show takes a different turn now. We're into the next chapter of the television show.
Season 2.
And it's down to 5 characters. There's really only 5 characters left in this show now.
So let's talk about the Democrats a little bit.
Sure.
Because it boggles my mind. You know, there's different rules for each party when it comes to these caucuses. But when we see people deciding who could potentially be our next president by tossing coins and they're dropping them off the table, and it seems insanely arcane. Why do they have rules like this?
What are the rules? Let's go look at the... Well, there aren't any rules. Let's make them up as we go. Yeah. I don't know how many times we heard television people say last night, this is democracy at work.
Is that what we do?
What?
A coin flip? That's not how we decide
this. It seems so absurd. And this apparently happened. They're excited.
6 precincts.
Some people are excited, some aren't. But this happened 6 times.
It is. And they're saying the rules need to be updated, and they do.
And never before have more people watched this on television. And they stayed on television last night. All the newsers got bigger audiences than they normally get. Like 10 million total, and they're watching this all night long.
Because look at it. It's a circus. Of course we're going to watch. We can't believe this is how we do it in America. And most of us weren't aware that these rules still exist. You're right.
She doesn't look happy.
Hillary was claiming victory last night. I don't think that's a real victory. It was a tie. They're punting to New Hampshire, Bernie has to win New Hampshire,
But
and it looks like
he's
he
very
will.
well
It looks like he
positioned
will. Hillary's putting all of her money and all of her effort into winning minorities.
But
If
is it not a huge relief for her? I mean, she could have lost, and that would have been a worse headline than either.
It
and
would have
now
been,
she could say, even winning by 0.2, that at least there's victory. She was smiling today,
You're right.
saying, "I'm the winner. I'm the winner. I really worked really hard at earning every single vote."
Boy, we sure hope, don't we? All the television people, all the newsers hope that Trump has not been knocked too far off his pedestal, because they need that showmanship. They need that guy to drive, to lead the parade, right?
I think the takeaway for me with Hillary Clinton in Iowa is Hillary Clinton has a great organization, but she's a terrible candidate. The voters don't really like her, but she was so good at mobilizing her people, she played the game well.
There's really only one candidate. There's only one candidate that people are willing to stay with and watch. Hillary's not great on television. Ted Cruz has this sort of eerie, creepy factor, right?
Yeah.
Rubio's young, up-and-comer, but sounds rehearsed. Bernie's passionate, but he's a one-trick pony. And Trump is...
Trump.
Trump.
Let's take a look at some of the reaction on social media, which is where we get where we get most of our reaction from these days, about what happened. So here's one: Iowa caucus tonight, where they crowned the wrong, where Miss Philippines
Right.
they took the crown away.
Sorry.
Poor Trump was Miss Columbia there.
Yet another one from Lee Mayo with a
Make second place great again.
This was out about 30 seconds after
great
the
again.
results. Yeah.
You gotta love the internet. Yeah.
And we get another 9 months of this. Isn't that awesome?
But was Iowa a good example of how polls aren't necessarily how the country
It just
feels?
fascinates me that Iowa, almost all white, a state of 3.1 million people. New Hampshire is even smaller, and those are the
Whiter.
two leading bellwether places to set the table for the campaign.
This
and
thing
it's been that way
thing
forever.
is far from over, and polling, while it's an interesting measurement ahead of time, you're right. It's all about turnout models and when they did the poll and who did the poll,
Right.
and
Right.
we can't trust them.
Who has a better social media strategy?
Right.
Who can beat
Who
the
has funnier
billion-dollar
memes?
Who has
super
funnier
PACs?
At the end of the day, it's almost like picking who the losers are, and then
Well, now we're in the business of getting rid of some people.
And
We're
that will
getting rid
happen
of some
very
people.
quickly.
Yeah.
Clean
All
up.
right.
Thank you so much.
John and John. Thank you.
John.
We appreciate it.
Okay.